Welcome back, NBA fans, to another episode of OTN.
I saw a report the other day about the Detroit Pistons and their potential to make some big moves.
The Pistons. Now that's a conversation. They've been building something interesting with Cade and the young guys. A move for who, though? We've heard so many names thrown around this summer. Markkanen?
Wow. Okay, I can see where this is going. The Pistons have been in the market for a stretch four who can score and space the floor. Lauri, when he's on, is a perfect fit for that. His game would open up the court for Cade Cunningham to operate. I mean, imagine Cade driving and kicking to a 7-foot sniper like Markkanen. That's a scary thought for defenses.
Right? The report I saw even mentioned that the fit with Cade would be ideal. It makes so much sense on paper. Cade gets a co-star who doesn't need the ball in his hands all the time, and a guy who can really space the floor. We know the Pistons have struggled with shooting. Adding someone who can consistently knock down shots from deep would change their whole offensive dynamic.
100%. It's exactly what they need to take that next step. But here's the thing, and this is where it gets tricky. The Jazz. They've been pretty firm in their stance on Markkanen. I mean, the article you're referencing and others I've seen all stress that the Jazz aren't actively trying to move him. They've said it themselves. They're committed to him unless a compelling offer arises. And Danny Ainge is not a guy who gives anything away for free.
So it's not as simple as the Pistons just making a call. The Jazz would need to be absolutely blown away. That brings up the next part of this. What would a compelling offer even look like from the Pistons? The report mentions some specific names.
Yeah, it did. It threw out a whole list of potential trade components, which is why this is such a fascinating topic. They mentioned guys like Jaden Ivey, Tobias Harris's expiring contract, Ron Holland, Jalen Duren, and Ausar Thompson. You look at that list, and it really shows the depth of young talent the Pistons have. But it also highlights the challenge. The Jazz would have to decide which of those young guys they really want.
That's the negotiation right there. The report suggested that the Pistons could put together a package with Jaden Ivey, Tobias Harris's expiring deal, and draft picks. The expiring contract is key for the Jazz for future flexibility. And then you have Ivey. He's a young, high-upside guard. Do the Jazz value him enough to give up an all-star caliber player?
Man, I'm not sure. On one hand, Ivey is super talented, and he showed flashes of being a real dynamic scorer. But on the other, the Jazz already have a bunch of young guards. Do they really want another? I mean, what does that do for them? Maybe they see Ivey as a piece they can flip later. And Tobias Harris's expiring contract is a massive piece for any team trying to get some cap space. That's a valuable asset. The fact that the Pistons have that to offer is a big advantage. It's a double-edged sword for the Pistons.
You'd have to give up some of your core pieces to get Markkanen, but if it helps Cade become a superstar and you become a real contender in the East, maybe it's worth it.
Oh, it's absolutely worth it. If you can get Lauri for Ivey, Tobias, and a couple of picks, you do that. You just do it. Lauri Markkanen is a proven all-star level player. Ivey is still a question mark. You're trading a guy with a high ceiling for a guy with a high floor and an established game that fits your star. It's a no-brainer.
So you're saying you'd pull the trigger on that deal?
In a heartbeat. The fit is too perfect. Lauri's ability to be a secondary creator and a consistent scoring threat would be invaluable. And let's not forget his size. A front court of Markkanen and Jalen Duren would be a problem for a lot of teams. And with Ausar Thompson on the wing, that's a long, athletic, and versatile lineup. The Pistons would go from a team on the rise to a legitimate playoff contender.
The potential for a trade like this just adds to the hype for the new season. It makes you wonder what teams are really serious about making a move.
For sure. And this is the most recent point. This is what I want to stress. We need to be clear about this. The source, in its most recent update, outlines that this is all based on a recent comment from an analyst suggesting this is an ideal destination. It's not that there are ongoing talks, but rather a professional opinion on a perfect fit. It's about what the Pistons could offer to make the Jazz consider it. The Jazz front office has consistently shown they're not interested in moving Markkanen unless they get an offer they can't refuse. And you have to wonder if the Pistons, with their young core, would be willing to give up much to make that happen. They're trying to build a team for the future, and giving up major pieces of that future for a player who might not be a top 10 guy is a big risk, even if he is a great fit. It's a classic stare-down between a rebuilding team with valuable assets and a team with a young star who needs a running mate.
That's a great point. It's a lot of smoke, but where's the fire? It's all about the potential, and that's exactly what makes this a great conversation.
All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to OTN. Be sure to follow us for all the latest and greatest in the NBA world.